The YotaPhone was one of the most interesting devices to come out of this year's CES trade show in January, thanks to the unusual second display affixed to the back. The second screen uses e-ink technology, the same thing you'll find in an Amazon Kindle, which is theoretically more comfortable to read on, and uses considerably less power than a regular LCD screen. It's an interesting concept, and it certainly is an eye-catcher, but now that it's actually out, does it still stand up to scrutiny? The YotaPhone goes on sale December the 4th in Russia, Germany, Austria, and Spain for €499, and is due to hit UK shelves in January of next year. YotaPhone has confirmed the device will not make it to US shops, but that future revisions might. So looking at the phone from the front, you'd have no idea that there's anything unusual about it. Its overall design is pretty uninspiring in fact, with plain black edging and an unbroken glass front. It has none of the elegance of phones like the HTC One or Sony Xperia Z1, instead opting for a strictly functional aesthetic. Its wide bezels around the screen give it something of a budget look as well. It feels fairly sturdy, with no flex in the chassis and a stiff band around the edge that seems like it could withstand a couple drops on the ground. The rear e-ink display is more of a concern though, as it could pick up almost any scuff that you throw at it. Now with no physical navigation buttons on the front of the phone, you'll need to use a series of gestures to make your way around the Android interface. A swipe to the right takes you home, for example, and a back swipe takes you back a page. A two-finger swipe takes you down a screenshot and displays it on the rear screen. While it's a nice idea to leave the front free of buttons, I don't think Yota has found the best solution. For one, the gestures need to be performed on a dedicated touch area beneath the screen. Having that space taken up with the touch panel negates any space saved by having no buttons. Now, about the e-ink display, which is the killer feature on this phone. It might seem slightly crazy having a second screen on the back of your phone, but the theory is kinda sound. E-ink displays aren't backlit and aren't refreshed until new information needs to be displayed, so they use very small amounts of power. A Kindle, for example, can give over a month of battery life. In theory, the low-power rear display can be used for reading books, websites, RSS feeds, and so on, meaning the power-hungry front LCD display isn't always on, sucking away the battery life faster than a lot of other phones. Now while that sounds all well and good, the execution of the idea again falls slightly short of the mark. The biggest issue lies with the quality of the display. It is a low 360 by 640 pixel resolution, which makes text and icons look very fuzzy. When I put a shot of the Android home screen on the e-ink display, it's almost impossible to read the app names. Reading ebooks is manageable, but the poor resolution means it's simply not as nice as reading on a Kindle. And the other big issue is the lack of software that supports the second screen. While YotaPhone has had some bundled apps like a notepad, as well as a calendar, a newsreader, and an education app, its functions are still limited and third-party support is almost non-existent. Now, Yota also reckons that this phone is great for personalization, as you're able to pop various wallpapers, including your own images, on the back for the world to see. A bunch of different wallpapers are preloaded, including a rather wonderful giraffe, which you can pop down widgets over the top to update with information. Now, as far as the software on this phone goes, this phone runs the slightly old Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean on the front LCD display. It's powered by a 1.7 GHz dual-core processor, which when it was first shown off at CES wasn't too bad, but is getting slightly old now. Still, it has a fairly fast clock speed, and it received a respectable 1756 on the Geekbench 2 benchmark test. Swiping around Android is relatively swift, with the odd small stutter here or there. The camera on the back of the phone is 13 megapixels and it gives fairly decent results, and even though it takes rather dark photos, it will be fine. This phone is an 1800 mAh battery, which is fine, especially considering that you will be using the second screen a fair bit if you plan to get this phone. Having an e-ink display on the back of the phone so you can comfortably read books or long articles without quickly draining the battery is a great idea in theory. I'm sold on the concept, but I don't think the YotaPhone is the answer we're looking for just yet. Its e-ink screen is very low quality, and it just doesn't have enough third-party support yet. But future iterations of this phone may be a lot better. Let me know what you think of the YotaPhone in the comments below. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!